Trust me, all right? If I could move from where I currently am, not physically, but like my life, I would. I would be either in Florida with Brad Thomas or California, Arizona. I don't know, Vegas. He's anywhere. He's always changing. He's a
What?
chameleon, like Eric Lindquist. Not in
White is
Philadelphia.
working.
That's for
White is
damn
working
sure.
F1 in Vegas all weekend. She's at the F1 races.
Oh,
She
that's
gets to
lit.
go hang out with
That's
everybody, and
insane.
she's running all these boxes because again she does events and does a bunch of stuff for CBS, Paramount Plus, and whatever else. But they have a bunch of executives going into Vegas. She has to stay at a suite at the Wynn by herself and go out to these terrible dinners and go hang out at these terrible events that she's putting on. And yeah, let's all pour one out for my wife as I stay home with the dog and do absolutely nothing.
That's why there's so many solo dog pics of you. I thought like your relationship might be in trouble, although you did put up a pic of a 3-year anniversary. Congratulations. You made it so far, but she's always doing more fun stuff than you. You're just stuck at home with the dog, and she's out working. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the UCLA USC game on Saturday night with my mother-in-law. I'm taking her out for that, so that'll be fun.
Good for you.
Otherwise,
Good
you know,
for
just
you.
trying to keep it on the straight and narrow. Just stay in my lane, and my wife gets to go rage in Vegas for a couple days. Congratulations to her. Have fun.
Not bad. Not a bad way to live. Brad, at Mr. Brad Thomas, at shanderbets. That's Eric Lindquist. Stay-at-home dog dad, at Eric Lindquist.
I'm trying to get this tweet out live now.
Fucking Lex
Everyone come to the
Luthor.
party.
Lex Luthor has the smallest screen in the entire world talking shit to me. This is nice.
That's right. That's right. And I could widen my shit at any time and expand. All right? Like that. All right. Let's do this. All right? Thursday night football. I've got this spread at 16.5. All right? The Cleveland Browns don't do a couple of things well at all. Run the football, stop the run. I know Nick
Play
Chubb was
football.
out. Play football, exactly. On defense, third down percentage, penalty percentage, throwing the ball. Even with Jameis as a resurgent, and even with Nick Chubb here, I'm curious to see where you guys go as we kind of round through it. Each one of us has to play. If you're new to us, hit the thumbs up button, of course, on the GoldBoys channel. Straight's in the house producing. That's why we're on the air with you here. So thank him if you ever see him. And let's go through this. We each have a play, then we'll go through it again, then we'll go through it again, right? 3 plays each, 9 plays total. And Brad, you know, if you and Eric and me, I'm curious to see where you guys go with this game because it's always any given Sunday and then Thursday it's a microwave here, but it just seems like Cleveland is dead.
It does. I actually, not gonna lie, I'm not betting the game. I was really excited to bet the RSM Classic. I've spent my whole week handicapping RSM Classic, handicapping golf, and handicapping college football, and handicapping soccer. I do think the line's weird, right? Like, I feel like it should be more than 3.5. So I'll probably put a little breakfast bet on the Steelers. Tomlin hasn't won a road divisional game in quite some time. I think this is the time. They got a quarterback's comparable, a good running game, a good offensive line, and good defense against Jameis Winston, right? Like, you saw it took like the new quarterback boost for them to actually win in his first start. But I'll give you my first play, and it's really actually freaking annoying because
Soccer?
No, it's college football. It's tonight. When I locked this bet in, the forecast was 10 miles per hour.
Yeah.
The weather has progressively gotten worse. It is up to 25 miles per hour right now. Granted, it says it's going to come down before game time to a playable number, but I mean, it's 25 miles per hour right now, and the game is in 4 hours. Like, that's scaring the crap out of me. I don't care what the forecast says because it was wrong once. But I'm not cashing out, right? Like, I'm taking C.J. Bailey, 275 plus passing yards. It's plus 320. Big number. Against Georgia Tech. You know, Georgia Tech, the reason for a lot of their success this season outside of their quarterback Haynes King has been their good defensive line. Defensive line has not allowed a lot of teams to just kind of bully them, run the ball, establish the run. Teams have had to throw, and they've had to throw from losing positions a lot. Well, they have one of the worst pass defenses in the ACC, actually one of the worst in the country, and especially at allowing explosive plays. They're 118th in defensive success rate against the pass as well, so they're getting chunks when they need to, so teams are able to move the sticks with some success through the air. Well, CJ Bailey's had quite a few games where he's hit the 300s, especially all the games where he's played against a bad pass defense this year. He's hit at least 270 passing yards. And there's this misnomer that like these athletic black quarterbacks can't throw the ball or don't throw the ball. Teams would like to run first in college football. This team actually throws the ball at a high clip. They're like 50th or 60th in rush rate over expected, which is higher than the country average, especially factoring out the service academies there. Big number, but at plus 320, I mean, all he has to do is throw for 270. We need a shootout. The weather needs to calm down, but it's projected to get down to 13 miles per hour. That's perfect game weather. That's all I need.
I love it. I love that they're, pretty decent dogs. I saw 8.5 kind of most places. And I've watched an abnormal amount of Georgia Tech football. I mean, they've played some big games. They had Notre Dame. They had Miami last week. So they've had some decent spots where we've been able to kind of look at, and Georgia Tech overall, I mean, this isn't some crazy total at 51.5. It's been bet down a little bit, but overall, I mean, this is when I shine at college football. From now until the end of the year, I really get into the streets because I really have no biases. There's certain teams that I've watched a lot. I've bet against BYU, I feel like, for a month straight now. I will continue to do so. I'm glad that you were on board with me there. But I'm going to definitely take a look at this too. Passing yardage, look at Cooper Rush from like the last primetime game on Monday night. Like, you are getting such nice payouts for a game script going a little bit off the reservation. Like, you just need a little bit of a skewed number there. Plus 320 is a big number on a kid that's got a pretty decent arm here in Bailey. And I like the Jolly kid. Isn't it Jolly, whatever his name is? Is it Jolie Jolly, the wide receiver, like his main guy?
Yeah.
That I really like. I've seen an abnormal amount of Georgia Tech games, and NC State, I've seen a couple of them this season. Starting to evaluate them for, NFL draft bets, because that's something that I try to hammer every year. But anywho, enough of the college football streets, because that's definitely my guy, Brad's realm. This is, again, I love the bowl season. I'm so excited for the playoff, aren't you? I'm so stoked.
So excited. I already have like plans. I'm gonna be going to Vegas. Gonna be sitting in Circa. I already got my room.
I think I'm gonna be in Vegas.
Oh, we got to link up.
Wow, sounds like a party. Go to Circa.
Eytan, just abandon your children.
Trust me. If I could, I would. I really would at this point. All right, who do you got tonight, Eric?
I got Pittsburgh. This is like, I don't understand. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. I look at PFF's projection. They've got it at 4.3, and they're almost always going up against dogs. Again, PFF, that's one place to kind of go take a little gander. I'm looking around at some other trusted sources, looking at some trusted people, and I think we all are just scratching our heads looking at this line. We're talking about a Steelers team that's 8-2 against the spread, best in the entire NFL. You got a Browns team on the other side, 3-7 against the spread. Jameis Winston has some of the smaller hands in the combine. It was one of the reasons that people were kind of questioning where he would land. He ended up at Tampa Bay, stayed in the state of Florida, which was nice. Did you know this will be the very first game in Jameis Winston's career in college or the NFL that he is starting a game that is less than 42 degrees at kickoff? It is going to be miserable for Jameis Winston out there. I have underpassing numbers, and I'm not a trends guy. You haven't heard me bring up stuff like that, but I found that stat researching because I just kind of went through the log of like, man, how is Jameis Winston going to perform? I think this is way, way too much respect on the Cleveland side. And just looking around the industry, seeing these plus 3.5 tickets, I don't get it. I really don't. That half point, if it didn't exist, do you know how much money would be in on Steelers -3 right now? It would be ungodly right now. And that's the thing. It is standing pat, man. I have to jam. It's going to be my largest play on a spread of the entire year, Steelers -3.5.
I love that. Listen, I literally just took it just because I put full faith in you.
Today, like I said, man, this spread should be upwards, and you guys are going to laugh, but the reality is that, and we just saw it on Monday night too, when you have teams that are dead this late in the season, they don't just come alive unless there's some massive change, right? Like unless there's a coaching change or maybe Daniel Jones gets benched and you get a little blip in the radar for a week. But dead teams are dead. Like the Dallas Cowboys are shit. And this Browns team, you just see them, they're trending in the wrong direction. And I'm with you, man. Like I have this spread north of 14. and I would not be shocked if Pittsburgh came in
Okay, I
and
don't have
and
that, but
routed them.
that's incredible. That's incredible.
But again, like I'm not betting it 14. I'm not coming in off an
Yeah.
alternate spread. That's my starting point. I'm working it back. There's weather. I'm looking at injury. I'm looking at offensive line, like certain things. But initially, Pittsburgh is just markedly better. So I'm with you. Now I have an issue here. So you have to tell me. I trust you, Brad. Eric too, to I guess a lesser extent. But my first play, if I go to my plays, I'm going to freeze this screen. So you throw it out there and give me a little alley oop if you don't mind.
Okay. I can
Eric, do you have it?
1, 2, 3. We've got
Is it
ourselves
Pickens? George
Pickens
Pickens.
anytime
Yeah.
touchdown plus 220 on FanDuel.com.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
the number here is appealing to me in a game that he clearly stands out as a dominant receiver. You're getting him north of 2-1, which is fine, right? Like I'm not saying this is going to be super plus CV beating the market. It's just the number compared to what you're getting elsewhere. But bigger for me is just how is Cleveland going to defend him? And I don't mean like how is Cleveland going to defend him? I'm just curious, like how is Cleveland going to defend him? How are they going to justify putting more on him and more focus on him, knowing that they have to clog the middle and stop both Najee Harris and Warren, who presents a really difficult, Eric's guy, a really difficult speed situation for him. So I think Pickens on the outside, he's got the speed to break something open. Clearly, Russ Wilson loves throwing him the football. They have a
Loves.
connection, and he's going to get the targets by all means. So I'll take him as an anytime.
You
Yeah,
know,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought this was a crazy price. Being able to get George Pickens 5+ receptions at plus money. He's hit it in 3 out of 4 games. I didn't quite lock that in yet, but it's plus 125. Like that's a really big number.
Big one.
And just to be fair, right, to the trend, which is not just like, oh, 4 out of last 5. Those are Russell Wilson games. Like
Yes.
those are games that he took over, and you can
Yep.
clearly see there is a connection between those. So I think that's really good value to bring that up, in which he's connected with Russ on that level. That's why I like him here.
I would like them to mix Pickens more into the slot over the course of this season. 112 snaps for him in the slot, 413 out wide. But I mean, I really think you want to take advantage of Cleveland in that spot. Plus, it kind of leads into what I'm looking at as just explosive plays in this game. I think George Pickens ripping off a long one wouldn't be that shocking. People get so freaked out by weather. I get freaked out by really good defenses like the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on Jameis Winston in cold environment that he's
Yep.
never played in. And I don't know. Jameis Winston seems like the kind of person who might be affected by such things just based on his personality. The
Dude,
guy
he's never even played in cold weather in
ever.
high school. He played in Alabama. He's from
Yep.
Bessemer,
Right.
Alabama.
Yep. But college
That's true.
and NFL, never under 42 degrees at kickoff of a single time. It's going to be a lot colder than 42 here. I am seeing at kickoff 36 degrees. That doesn't seem fun. Have fun,
No,
Jameis.
no,
Have fun.
not at all. All right, let's run it back, Brad.
Okay, my next bet, like I said, not going to the NFL. We are going back to college football. All three will be in college football. I had the privilege and the honor to be a guest at the Colorado football game. I was on the sideline
that.
there, and I got to
Saw
see
that.
Mr. Shadur Sanders up close and personal, as close as you possibly could, because I was there when he was working out, like literally in front of my face. Mad props to this Colorado team. Much better than they were to start the season. We'll start with that. Their offensive line had a couple of issues, but it was more of like a continuity thing. A lot of guys who, hadn't played together, their transfers. Shout out to them for getting it together. They finally figured out their run game too. They kind of benched Dallin Hayden, brought in Isaiah Augustive, and he's been running with success. They have 4 wide receivers who are all NFL ready, which I don't know if you guys realize that. That's like to have 4 guys who would be drafted if the draft were tomorrow is something that you see in like the SEC, maybe
Right.
at Ohio State, right? Like you don't see that at Colorado in the Big 12. Now they're playing against Kansas, who just had 2 of the biggest wins of their season. Now a third back home after going to Utah, the state of Utah, and beating BYU in their own home. It's a massive letdown spot for Kansas. Colorado beats them. Kansas's weakness too is the explosive pass game. That's why BYU couldn't win that game, because they're not an explosive team. I took Colorado money line.
Yeah, man.
Love
I
it.
think outside of what you laid out, which is perfect, especially seeing that up close and personal, as you mentioned, from a Colorado standpoint, just fading Kansas in this spot. Like this
Kansas
is
is
just
ruining
a
the Big
great
12.
spot.
They ruined it for my Iowa State Cyclones. They ruined it for BYU. They're going to just, I mean, this has got to be a make right spot. Colorado, please do your worst to the Kansas
will.
Jayhawks. They're not playing at Arrowhead, are they?
No, I
Yeah,
don't think
Arrowhead.
so. Oh, they
Yeah,
are.
they are.
They are even more so.
Yeah,
Even more so.
because they played Iowa State at Arrowhead, and Iowa
That's
State
right.
was talking about
I
how
believe
it's kinda screwed
they're
with them a
doing
little bit.
renovations to their stadium. I think that's
Yep.
why they've been playing at Arrowhead,
Yeah,
just like
I heard, yeah.
Northwestern.
It's going to be, well, I'm just saying, it's going to be more Colorado, you would think, than Kansas.
100%.
It's
Yep,
going to be
absolutely.
awesome. I think that plays to them. If it were, on campus, that's one thing. But yeah, with it being at Arrowhead, I kind of like this for Colorado too. I think they're going to get a very home friendly environment. Should be them, BYU in that Big 12 championship game, right? And we move on with our lives. So
Yeah,
so.
hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully it's BYU in that championship game so they can play them and these BYU fans
roll
stop
'em.
crying on the doggone internet.
There you go.
They're
There you go.
whining.
Nothing better than
We
that.
beat
That'll be a
SMU.
grand
We beat
silencer.
SMU.
Driving me
Whining
nuts.
No, they're doing it because the committee recognizes that, oh, you won like 4 games you shouldn't have. It was just atrocious. But
Listen, you guys know I had the BYU ticket. I
Yeah.
watched them week after week, and I was like, yo, this is not a good team.
they're not it. They're not it. You know what is it? Jalen Warren here in this spot. The more
There you
efficient
go.
runner here the last 2 weeks. This poor guy had a very, very bad run bad at the beginning of this season. He hurts his hamstring. It becomes the Najee Harris show. We get a late start to the season. I don't even think he was like 100%, but made his way out there in the early going, had like 3-6 carries there, but missed weeks 4 and 5, gets back into the mix here. Now we're starting to see some volume come his way as Arthur Smith has recognized. Maybe this is my more dynamic back. We're talking 12, 9, 14, and 9 carries here the last 4 weeks. 3.7, 5.1, 4.7, and 4.6 yards per carry. Let's compare that to Najee Harris on the other side of this one. 2.5 and 3.5 yards per carry the last 2 against Washington and Baltimore. And obviously, sometimes when you just extrapolate data like that, I'm willing to say, all right, first, second down running situations as opposed to maybe Jalen Warren who mixes in on a third down. Maybe it's a 3rd and 15 where it's a handoff and a team's playing prevent. There's sometimes where that data can look skewed over a 2-week sample size. But we're talking explosive plays. We're talking who is the more dynamic back. And 13 and a half longest rushing, minus 110. It's minus 120 if you want to go to the 12 and a half. It's minus 130 if you want to go to the 11 and a half. There's just a number of different ways to look at the longest rush here. And I think Jalen Warren's going to get mixed in more and more and more here, especially in this kind of a game environment. Plus, we saw last week against Taysom Hill, and this is where I was just kind of like licking my chops to see where they were going to set this number at. Taysom Hill, his longest rush was set at like 11 and a half last week around even money. He beat it 3 times in the same game. So I'm just saying Cleveland is not built. I know it's different dome as opposed to outdoors in this snow globe that we're going to be at, but a much better offensive line than what New Orleans has got here at the moment. I really like that left side of it. I think they keep Garrett at bay. Garrett will be out there just worrying about trying to get sacks because this is stat padding territory right now. They're 2-8, 3-7 against the spread. They're going nowhere. Yeah, Jameis Winston's infused some goodness into this offense, but once again, going to this Steelers offensive line, I think Jalen Warren, I think he's becoming more of the favored son as he's gotten healthy here for Arthur Smith. I want to back that. I'm starting to see like mid-30s, low 30s in the rushing department too. I'm here for all of it on Jalen Warren tonight.
You know what's good about this team, about the Steelers, that I've noticed a trend? Not a lot of teams do this, but when the Steelers have big leads and they're in heavy run sets, they actually still split the carries between the 2 backs. Like it's not just Najee Harris running it in the game. Anybody who live bets, if you see the Steelers go up big at the end, just bet both running backs to go over their live total. I've done that multiple times this season because that's just a trend that I noticed. Like these guys are like, both these are our guys. We're going to end the game with both of them.
Yep.
That's smart. That's
smart.
smart.
Najee Harris, this is probably Najee Harris's best season in the NFL. I mean, by most metrics. I mean, he's 18th in run grade right now on PFF. I can't remember him being in the top 20 in any previous season in his career.
It's what makes Pittsburgh so good and so dangerous. We all know how well they play defense, but the fact that they run and commit to the run and don't abandon the run, especially on third and short in
Third and
situations.
3, 3rd and 4,
Exactly.
still doing
No
it.
man's land, right? 3rd and 3 on the opponent's 40. How often do you see a drop back sack knock you out of field goal range, as opposed to just do the smart thing, run the ball, even if you don't make it, you get a shorter kick. And they're smart. Like Mike Tomlin brings in smart people, and if they're not,
Yep.
Matt Canada, I don't know how the hell Matt Canada slipped through the cracks in that organization so long, but he's gone. All right, let's do this. I got one. Let's see if we can do a lightning round on the way out of here and jam in our final 3 plays. We'll let you know what's going on over at BetMGM and this great deal before that with Straight. But mine, as you see, Eric, right? I'm doing this from memory. Is it Darnell? Is our pal Big D? DW?
It is our
Right?
big pal, Big Darnell. What are we doing with our lives?
Look,
11.5 receiving yards and anytime touchdown, 1,100. You're out of your
no,
mind,
no,
sir.
this is just the receiving yards at 11 and a half. We'll go over
Oh,
11 and a
okay,
half
that's what it was.
receiving yards.
Okay,
Yeah, for
okay.
Washington.
I just know we have an
I
anytime
played him.
touchdown too.
Okay, yeah. Anytime touchdown is 10-1. Put 10
Yeah,
a tenth of a unit. Put 0.15 of a unit on this. He's moved up. All right. Like as far as tight ends are concerned, Pat Fryermuth is old news. He's yesterday's newspaper. All right. Darnell Washington is today's YouTube. Get with the times. All right. Fryermuth, get his ass out of here. In comes Washington. I'll take the anytime. I'll bump it up to a quarter unit. I don't give a shit. All right, we're going to do a lightning round here before we get out of here. Eric can't say anything because he's already in on that play. He may not even know it, but he's in for Washington anytime, first touchdown, and 2 TDs. All right, we're going to
Brad
take.
Thomas left the set. He's gone.
He couldn't take. This is like a scene right out of Get Up or whatever the hell that shit's called in the morning, where somebody says something so egregious that one of the hosts just gets up and leaves.
I
It's
get
usually
it.
Mike Greenberg who says something nonsensical. All right, so we'll let you know what's going on here at BetMGM with Gold Boys, and then we'll try and do a lightning round as fast as we can and just jam fast, quick, some plays coming up. The Gold Boys are one of the largest, most well-known sports betting discords around the world. We'll show you how easy it is to get a free month at goldboys.com at MGM just for using code GoldBoys. Sign up at BetMGM, use code GoldBoys, deposit at least $10 and get your first bet back up to $1,500. Once you play through, you'll get an email from BetMGM with your code to use for that free month at goldboys.com. Some exclusions may apply. 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Again, sign up at BetMGM using code GoldBoys, deposit at least. Oh, this is the show in a nutshell. I have to leave in 3 minutes, and I asked if we can do a lightning round and just power through picks. And something happened to Brad in our commercial that's probably going to take like 10 minutes if we really wanted to just have some fun with this thing. We can't put it off to Monday. Your dog just shit in front of you.
Literally, right? Someone came to the door. I went and got the door, brought the dog inside so she wouldn't mess with him in my office. Took a shit right here, just looking at me like she didn't do shit.
What kind of dog and how old?
Old, like 11, pit lab mix.
Okay, so knows better. Unless there's some health
knows
issues.
better.
Okay.
No excuses.
Oh,
Give
wow,
me the,
no excuses. Well, you got to go, maybe faster than I do, so why don't you give your play?
Yeah, okay, I'll give my pick. I'm taking Cam Ward, 325 plus passing yards. They're playing against Wake Forest. Weather is nice. Pretty much Wake Forest secondary sucks. Cam Ward needs a big game, needs a bounce back after coming off the bye week and after losing to Georgia Tech.
Love that. Look at that number, too. 325 plus. All right, Lindy.
Love it. I am going to the San Antonio Spurs. You ended up getting, I don't know why this number didn't move. Chris Paul, Zach Collins, both in. Just fire it up. I mean, you can use this. I know a lot of people don't want to lay 148 to 100. I do. So that's what we're doing here. So San Antonio Spurs with Zach Collins in with, I mean, it's just a smash spot. They get the Utah Jazz. No Jordan Clarkson. He's doubtful. They're going to be playing thin. It's just a really, really bad Utah team. We just saw San Antonio do some amazing things going up against OKC before Isaiah Hartenstein got there. So they took advantage of a spot with no Chet Holmgren, obviously, for another couple months. But yeah, San Antonio, they're playing really good basketball, cohesive. And Stephon Castle, I'm in love with this kid out of UConn. I love this kid. He is a baller. He is a winning basketball player. Give him all of the minutes, please.
2+3s at +150 earlier on DK.
Oh,
That was
I
a
was
must
looking at
watch.
alt assist lines because Chris Paul's kind of letting him. He's building
Yeah, he
some
had a big one
confidence in the
last
young
night.
guy, and this is something
Right.
Chris Paul did in OKC, where he was building up Dennis Schroeder and SGA, playing around them. He's talking very highly of Stephon Castle, and if there are any limitations to Chris Paul in his hand, I would be looking at Stephon Castle pretty heavily.
All right, for me on the way out, and I was just trying to look at Brad's face the whole time to see if it actually like smells really bad
It
or
smells. I'm holding my freaking nose.
there you go. All right, so I
Yeah.
was trying to figure that out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lindy, but it's the team total on the way out of here, right?
Yes, it is.
It's
Correct.
16 and a
Under
half. Look,
16 and a half. Yep.
basically, I'm telling you right now is that the Cleveland Browns did not score 17 points tonight. You can reach your own conclusions as far as how that comes. Maybe it's a missed extra point. Maybe it's Jameis Winston not able to deal with the cold. Maybe it's the fact that the game is just 9-3. Whatever it is, I don't think the Browns score 17 points tonight. Let's do Brad Thomas a favor. You can follow him at Mr. Brad Thomas, at Eric Lindquist, at shanderbets. Thanks to Straight. Go on. Clean up that shit so you can take a breath, my brother.
Peace, y'all.
3-0 night.